Hello everyone, Alex is here with a new camera comparison between the Samsung S23 Ultra and the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I spent a whole day outside taking photos and videos with all these cameras, and the results were quite interesting. So let's not waste time and start with the wide camera. We have the new crazy 200 megapixel sensor on the Samsung S23 Ultra, and the iPhone as well have a new sensor with 48 megapixels. This is going to be a blind test because I always find people, including me, leaning toward their favorite system. I will give you 5 seconds to guess the answer, and I will share my personal opinion as a photographer after the test. And of course, all of these photos and videos are taken in auto mode, since most of the people will use it that way. As you can see, the iPhone camera is cooler, with an aggressive dynamic range, which can be good if you're planning to post the photo instantly. And Samsung is warmer with more details and candy pop colors. Honestly, I prefer something in between, like the results out of the Pixel 7 Pro, especially if you're taking photos of people. So it's a draw here, but if I have to pick one, I will go with the iPhone if the Pixel 7 is out of the comparison. Because let's face it, most people will post the photos out of the camera without any retouching or editing. However, if you shoot mostly landscapes or photos of food, the S23 Ultra is your way to go. For night shots, the winner is Samsung, for maintaining crazy amount of details even in highlights, without making you feel like it's morning, similar to previous generations. I'm glad Samsung worked on this issue, because I was never a fan of it. Don't get me wrong though, the iPhone did a great job as well, but I prefer the S23 Ultra here. Now let's move to the ultra-wide camera, with 12 megapixels on both. This ultra-wide camera reminds me of LG, with all their crazy innovations. LG was the first company to implement the super wide angle lens on their phones. All I can say is LG phones were fun. I still own LG G4, G7, and I still use the V20 as an amp for my favorite headphone. Anyway, let's get back to the blind test of the ultra-wide angle lens. It's easy for me to pick a winner here, considering that people are not included in this test. Samsung has a better camera here. It has more details, colors, and contrast overall. The telephoto lens is something I don't think we should compare, because the obvious winner should be Samsung, with all the ads of 100x space zoom, while the iPhone can only do 15x digitally, from the 3x lens, with 12 megapixels, while the Samsung has only 10. But let's not judge the book by the cover and look at the test. As you can see, the winner is certainly Samsung, since you can zoom way closer to the subject and read things I can't even see in my own eyes, thanks to the extra 10x zoom camera. I don't personally care about zooming too much, especially using my phone. However, what I care about in this lens is portrait photos that mimic pro camera's depth of field using edge detection and some other software algorithms. But I noticed that iPhone uses the primary camera and applies a digital cropping on the image to make it 2x zoom, which will make it more versatile but less pleasing. For example, as a portrait photographer, I use a 105mm lens to make the model look as flattering as possible, and Samsung uses 3x, which translates to 70mm, while the iPhone uses a 23mm lens and crop it to make it look like 50mm, which might also lead to an obvious winner, but let's do the test and decide after. Well, the results speak itself. But Samsung should really work on the skin tone. It looks so orange in most of the photos, which can be fixed in a software update. When it comes to edge detection, it's not perfect on both, but it's not that far. Now only two things left to compare, the front-facing camera and the video. Starting with the front camera with 12 megapixels on both phones. I feel like this camera has only one use, depending on the trend. At first it was for taking selfies, and now it's for making TikToks. Anyway, here's the test. In bright sun, the iPhone did better in maintaining details in backlit conditions, but here's where I don't know which one to pick. The iPhone is clearer obviously, but it looks fake to my trained eyes. I know most of you will like the iPhone photos, but if you have a pro camera, give it a try. You will see that the result is similar to the Samsung. Aggressive dynamic range is not always good. Of course I don't want a blown out sky or dark mountains, but shadows and lights are the most creative way to shoot pro grade photos. But for the average user who wants to post photos on Instagram, you'll be happier with the iPhone. In good lighting condition, both are good. It's hard to pick a winner here, so I will consider it a draw. In low light photos, the Samsung is sharper and clearer, even in highlights. Now let's move to the category that iPhone mastered for over a decade now, the video. Starting with the primary camera with the capability to record 4K 60fps on both phones and 8K 30 on the Samsung, which I'm not gonna use in this video. And you should not as well, because of the needed space, hardness of editing, lack of good stabilizing, and the list goes on. And the same abilities apply to the front cameras except for the 8K. Both of these are doing a great job of recording videos, but I did notice some major differences. For example, the iPhone is focusing on the dynamic range of the sky to make it better, which will impact the dark area, and Samsung is going the other way. Which one is right? The answer is none. It's just a personal preference. I'm leaning more toward the iPhone though. When it comes to image stabilizing, Samsung is definitely the winner here. Of course, I'm talking about action mode and active image stabilizer. It's unbelievable. If they can implement this kind of stabilizer on pro cameras, we will definitely say goodbye to gimbals. Let's go to the last part of the comparison, night videos, and I will give you my final thoughts after. All that I can say that I'm actually impressed. These phones are beasts in low light performance. I like the iPhone more. It's making my face brighter without making it feel like it happened in software. And Samsung applies heavy noise reduction that makes the image cleaner but less sharp than the iPhone. Let's demonstrate the results again. For the wide camera, I will call it a draw, with iPhone being better in sunlight conditions and Samsung better in low light. And both are equally good in video, with iPhone being slightly better in low light. The ultra-wide, telephoto and portraits will go to Samsung. The front camera I will give it to iPhone for photos and Samsung for videos. Bottom line, if you want the phone to take photos only, I recommend you to go with the Pixel 7 Pro. And the iPhone for videos. And for hybrid users, Samsung is the best of both worlds. Anyway, let me know in the comments which one do you like more. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. And see you guys in the next video.